This is my 98 Chevrolet S10. It's got the puny little 2.2 four-banger in it. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I lowered it. So it actually started its life off with a 3-inch lift in the front. Just spindles, nothing fancy. And honestly, it looked good. But since I got the truck, I always wanted to lower it. So that's what I'm doing here. For the record, I want to let y'all know, this is not me saying that this is the right way to do it. This is just the way I did it. I'm going to give y'all tips and I'm going to let y'all know the stuff I messed up on and what you could do differently. That being said, we're going to jack this son of a gun up. I just stick a little block of wood and go from that little center thing from the bottom. Yep. Then you put the jack stands under it, obviously. And you lower that John down so you can get the wheels off of there. You'll see my ultimate speed there. That was pretty freaking amazing. From that point, good safety measure. You can always put the wheel under the car just in case anything was to happen to the jacks. From this point, you can go ahead and remove the 2 guide pins / bolts for the brake caliper. And there's probably a better way to do this, but I just kind of wiggled it off till it was free. Bloop. After that, you want to find a good place for it. And while your wheel's off, it's a good time to check your brake pads. Mine are just fine. I ain't doing nothing with them. My truck's got a nice spot on the knuckle for me to just put the brake. From that point, you want to take a flat head and then just pretty much hammer it out so that you can get the dust cap off. Like butter. I'm going ahead right here and just wiping off some of the grease so that I can not get it on everything whenever I go to take the cotter pin out right here. A little bit of pliers and elbow grease to get that right out of there. Now if the last mechanic that touched it knew what they were doing, this shouldn't be too tight. You just take your socket on there and it comes right off. And then the bearing slides out like nothing as well. And from there, you can go ahead and take off the rotor. Behind the rotor is sitting this dust cover thing that I forgot the name of. But you want to be very careful because this also has the ABS line connected to it. For the record, this is me and my fiance doing it because she wanted to help out with it, so I told her that she could. Now right here I made a crucial mistake that I suggest everybody else do differently. As you can see, I go straight to trying to take it off, and I'm actually stretching this ABS wire, which you do not want to do. Especially because all that's holding it in is one little screw, which is in the control arm right here. All you got to do is just take that out. It's very easy, and if you did it lazy like me, it can cost you a lot of money. But again, right here, I'm going ahead and wiping off some grease, just kind of get it out of the way because I kept touching it with my arm and it was bothering me. This is my fiance swinging a hammer at nothing for some reason. But from this point of the video, I'm going to pause. Reason being, when I filmed this video, I don't know what happened, but I don't have any videos of taking out the cotter pins. So, to make it short for you, you got 3 cotter pins. One on your upper ball joint and control arm, one on your lower ball joint and control arm, and then another one that goes for your tie rod. Where I'm leaving off here is pretty much showing you what you do after you remove those. If your tie rod end is stuck, you can put your castle nut upside down and pretty much just hit it with a hammer till it pops out. Then you can go ahead and take it off and bam, disconnected. From this point, you can go ahead and loosen your lower and upper ball joint, but do not fully remove the nuts. Bolts, that was me doing the lower, and right here, this is me loosening up the tops. I like taking a big breaker bar to them, it helps out. Now for the record, I did have an issue with getting my lowers to pop out. They did not want to, and so right here I made another mistake that I would advise you not to. I disconnected and separated my upper ball joint. Now let me take a moment to say, do not do what I did here. It doesn't break anything, but it does make it a whole lot more difficult to get the end product. That being my advice to you, what I would suggest for you to do is make sure that you get both ball joints loose and popped out before you take off any of the nuts. What I had to do to fix this on my end was jack up the lower control arm assembly just enough to where I could get the thread from the lower ball joint to go back through my steering knuckle. That way I was in the same position as I was before. From that point, I actually used the hammer method again, but what I did was I wedged something similar to a crowbar underneath the spring to put pressure on it. That way it had more pressure to be able to hit it and pop off. And for the record, I actually dealt with this issue on both sides. So back to it, we're actually going to be taking out the shocks now. What you're looking at is an up view from the engine bay. If your shocks are as terrible as mine are, your nuts will actually come right off. But if not, you actually have to take another small wrench to the top. That way you can hold it in place while you take the nut off, otherwise it will spin. Then of course 2 bolts on the bottom and it comes right out. After that, I finished up with taking the steering knuckle off all the way, which was just those few extra nuts. Then it pops right out like nothing. Again, unfortunately, I did have some issues with my camera, so I didn't get any footage of the next few steps, which are easy. All it takes is removing your sway bar end link. This way everything is fully disassembled, in which the lower control arm will actually drop enough for the spring to just come right out. Which is great because that means for this job you actually do not need a spring compressor. From this point, if you're doing springs, you can go ahead and throw your new springs right in there. Now originally I tried a pitchfork for removing that ball joint, so I actually did end up breaking the boot on the ball joint. Because of this, I ended up actually cleaning up the area. Put the new ball joint in, and from that point you can go ahead and put in your new spindles. Just like the old one, you got the bottom control arm, the top control arm, and the tie rod that you need to connect to. I started with the lower control arm just because it's easier to jack it up onto the upper control arm, but I also attached it to the tie rod second before I did that. From this point, you can go ahead and jack it up so that you can actually attach it to the upper control arm. After you get it up there, you want to start getting everything nice and tight.
You know, big dogs that eat furniture and people.
Once everything's nice and tight, you're going to want to match up your castle nut to the holes that are inside of the ball joint. This way, you can feed the cotter pin in and it work how it's supposed to.
3 times. Stick it back in itself.
Some of the good ones are unnecessarily strong and very difficult to make. I started from the top, I did the lower control arm, and then I went to the tie rod. The order doesn't really matter though. From this point you can go ahead and put your ABS dust cover thingamajiggy back on. And if you remove the bolt like you're supposed to, then it'll actually go on pretty easy. After that you want to put in your 3 bolts that hold it in. For this job I actually had to buy new ones because the old ones did not fit with the new steering knuckles. Now before you go working on putting the rotor straight back on, now's a good time to pack a little bit more grease back in there. Too much grease never hurt. Some people might want to actually go and just buy all new bearings, but mine are all good, so I'm not worried about it. From this point, we can go ahead and start with installing our sway bar end link again. Looking at this diagram here, you can see it's washer, bushing, knuckle, washer, bushing, spacer, washer, bushing, sway bar, bushing, spacer. It is kind of a pain in the butt to do it. Not that it's necessarily hard, but it keeps wanting to fall out at the bottom, so you have to hold it from the bottom as well. But from there, you just tighten it up all good. Now just to show off how bad my shocks were, they aren't really supposed to push in very easily. These ones went in, and I couldn't even barely forcefully pull them out. So they actually worked the complete opposite of how they were supposed to. Now in the making of this video, I actually did put these ones back in, because I accidentally ordered the ones for the 4-wheel drive, but since this video, and as of editing it right now, I actually have the new ones in there, and it works great. To put them in though, you just go back up from the bottom like you did before to take them out. With mine, I actually had to use pliers to pry them up, because they compressed while they were being put in, but after that, you put on the bushing, the washer, and then you can tighten down the nut. From this point, you want to make sure that you don't forget to re-tighten up that ABS line. My new steering knuckle came with these little funky thingamajiggies on the end, so I took them off. I went ahead and greased it up a little bit, and then it was ready for the rotor to go on. After the rotor goes on, you want to make sure that you can set the bearing. This is done by slowly tightening while you turn the rotor. That way any bearings that are out of place are able to set into the proper position. And you want to make sure you get it pretty tight, and right after you got it pretty tight, you can back it off a little bit, put your cotter pin in, and then bend it around to make it useful. From that, you go ahead and add your final little finishing touch with the dust cap. Take a rubber mallet to it so that you don't bend it, and then just hit it right into place. I also got some grease on stuff when I was doing it, so I went ahead and just took my brake cleaner to it. But after that, it's a matter of putting your calipers back on, which is the same way that you took them off. It's always good to clean up your guide pins and use a little bit of grease to make sure you do everything just right. After that, you can do the honors of finally putting your wheel back on. Now for doing the rear, you want to go ahead and jack up the truck. I did it by the diff. Put it down on the jack stands, take the wheel off. You can put it back under the truck for safety. I also jacked up the right side a little bit because that's the side I'm going to be working on. From this point, I got underneath the truck and loosened up the shock absorber. Now another thing I did wrong was I used a hammer to knock off the shock absorber. What I would recommend to you is to keep it on, that way whenever you undo the leaf springs, like right here, you don't deal with the tension and it go flying off on you like it did me. Went ahead and grabbed everything off, and a crucial part of this whole process is to get you some chicken tenders. After the chicken tender break, I went straight to putting on the 3-inch blocks that I had bought for it. Big thing is you want to make sure that the taller side is facing towards the rear of the truck or car, whatever it is you're working on. But then I go ahead and start with putting on the U-bolts, and then from there I can throw on the plate. After that, you can throw on a washer and then your nut. From this point, I went ahead and reinstalled the shock absorber, which was actually really easy because I didn't have anything truly tied it down yet. I put on the nut by hand, then right after that hit it with an impact to fully get it in there. I also did use a hammer. This way I could actually put the blocks properly into place, because it's kind of difficult to get them to sit where you want. Now these U-bolts are actually really big, which did pose a problem, so I had to get them on with a deep socket as much as possible and then follow it up by using a ratchet wrench, which felt like forever. But once you got it done on both sides, you can go ahead and start lowering the jack. Start putting some weight on everything, tighten it down a little bit more. And also, there is torque specs on these things, but my hand ugga-duggas should do. Go ahead and put everything back on, lower the truck down, and see how she sits. Go ahead and torque the wheels down. I would say drive it around for about a week or so, and afterwards go back and retighten, specifically the sway bar inlay, and retighten down the U-bolts. One thing in particular that I will note, depending on which kit you buy, you're gonna have some pretty big U-bolts on there. I'm keeping mine for now because I do plan on still dropping it a little bit more, which is another thing I wish I did differently. I wish that I would have got 4-inch blocks for the rear instead of 3, but that's something I plan on changing in the future. But if you're happy with how it sits, I'd say go ahead and cut them U-bolts. Other than that, I really hope you enjoyed and learned something with this video. It was definitely a learning process for me, but I think I got it pretty good. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of myself for it. Links to what I bought in the description. Have a good one.